Now, President Trump then took to his own social media platform, Truth Social, saying in part, quote, "I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have done so months ago."
What if the real threat to America isn't coming from a foreign government, but from a billionaire who helped put a president back in power? For years, Donald Trump and Elon Musk looked like two rebels fighting the same establishment. One commanded politics, the other commanded technology. But behind the applause and handshakes, a dangerous power struggle was quietly growing. Now it has exploded into public view.
What's your view on Elon Musk as of today? I mean, have you heard from him at all? Is your team?
Honestly, I've been so busy working on China, working on Russia, working on Iran, working on so many. I'm not thinking about Elon. You know, I just wish him well.
With accusations of betrayal, censorship, government dependency, and even hints about deportation. This isn't just a feud between two famous men. It's a battle over who controls America's future. When allies turned into enemies. For a long time, Donald Trump and Elon Musk appeared to be moving in the same direction. They were both outsiders in their own worlds. Trump challenged the political establishment, while Musk challenged the technological and industrial establishment. They criticized the media, rejected traditional gatekeepers, and built loyal followings that often overlapped. But the first crack appeared back in 2017. When President Trump withdrew the United States from the Paris Climate Agreement, Musk quietly resigned from Trump's advisory council. He framed it as a principled decision, saying climate change was too important to ignore. At the time, it didn't look like the beginning of a war. It looked like a disagreement between two powerful men with different priorities. Then came 2022. Elon Musk purchased Twitter, a move that instantly transformed him from a tech entrepreneur into a major political player. Suddenly, he wasn't just building electric cars and rockets. He was controlling one of the world's most influential communication platforms. Musk began speaking more openly about politics. He admitted he had only recently started voting Republican, and that comment drew immediate attention. Trump responded with one of his trademark rally insults, calling Musk a BS artist. Many people laughed it off, but in hindsight, it was the moment their relationship began shifting from uneasy allies to potential rivals. Ironically, their similarities had once made them look unstoppable together. Musk had praised Trump's business instincts during his presidency. He supported deregulation and lower taxes. Trump, in turn, admired Musk's ability to innovate and create industries that didn't exist a generation ago. When Trump returned to the political spotlight in 2024, Musk surprised many observers by endorsing him. The endorsement sent a clear message. Silicon Valley's most famous entrepreneur was willing to back Trump's comeback. For a while, the partnership between Donald Trump and Elon Musk looked surprisingly powerful. Trump had regained political momentum, while Musk had become one of the most influential figures in technology and social media. Their public support for each other created the impression that they could become a formidable alliance, capable of shaping both politics and industry. But by 2025, that relationship had completely fallen apart. The speed of the collapse stunned even experienced political analysts. One year, they appeared aligned on major issues, and the next, they were openly attacking each other through social media posts, news interviews, and political allies. What had once looked like a strategic partnership suddenly resembled a full-scale public feud. For Trump, the criticism appeared deeply personal. Loyalty has always been one of the defining principles of his political style. When someone publicly supports him and later turns against him, he rarely treats it as a simple disagreement over policy. Instead, he often sees it as a betrayal that requires a forceful response. Musk, meanwhile, seemed increasingly frustrated with Trump's economic agenda and the broader direction of the administration. His comments became sharper, more frequent, and far more public. The public watched the breakdown in disbelief. How could two men who once seemed to benefit from each other suddenly become bitter rivals? The answer lies in the issue that struck at the center of Musk's business empire: electric vehicles. The electric vehicle betrayal. Tesla's rise was never just the story of a visionary entrepreneur building revolutionary cars. It was also the story of government incentives, federal tax credits, and policies designed to encourage Americans to adopt electric vehicles. For years, those programs worked heavily in Tesla's favor and helped accelerate the company's growth. Consumers received generous tax breaks for purchasing EVs, making Tesla's vehicles more affordable for millions of buyers. At the same time, manufacturers benefited from grants, subsidies, and regulatory advantages that encouraged rapid expansion and production. Tesla became the symbol of America's clean energy future, while Elon Musk emerged as the public face of that transformation. As Tesla's sales and market value soared, many investors assumed that government support for electric transportation would continue for decades. The company's success became closely tied to the broader political push toward renewable energy and reduced emissions. Then, Donald Trump returned to power. In 2025, his administration introduced a sweeping economic plan aimed at reducing government spending, cutting regulations, and rolling back federal mandates. Hidden within the proposal was a measure that sent shockwaves through the EV industry: the removal of federal electric vehicle tax credits and mandates. Trump argued that Americans were being pressured into buying electric cars and should be free to choose gasoline, hybrid, or electric vehicles without government interference. To many voters, that sounded like common sense. To Elon Musk, it sounded like a direct threat to Tesla's future. Without federal incentives, electric vehicles would become more expensive for millions of consumers. Tesla could lose a significant competitive advantage, and the broader EV market might slow dramatically. Musk reacted with unusual fury. Musk took the fight straight to X, where he publicly condemned Trump's proposal and reportedly described it as a disgusting abomination. The wording immediately grabbed national attention. What made it so shocking was that Musk had spent years praising Trump's efforts to strengthen American innovation, reduce regulations, and encourage business growth. This time, however, Musk appeared convinced that Trump was targeting the very policies that had helped Tesla become the dominant force in the electric vehicle industry. What began as a disagreement over economic policy quickly evolved into something much bigger. Musk started posting cryptic messages about fresh ideas, younger voters, and creating a political system free from what he called the old games of Washington. He never formally announced plans for a new political party, but the posts were vague enough to spark intense speculation. Many observers believed he was testing the waters for a new political movement that could attract independents, younger conservatives, and voters frustrated with both major parties. For Trump, that was a dangerous escalation. Criticizing a policy was one thing. Hinting at an alternative political force capable of pulling support away from his coalition was something entirely different. Trump responded aggressively on Truth Social. He accused Musk of building his empire with taxpayer money, mocked Tesla's early financial struggles, and argued that Musk's companies had survived because of government subsidies, loans, and federal contracts. Then he broadened the attack by targeting SpaceX, suggesting that even Musk's celebrated space company was heavily dependent on federal funding. The accusation struck directly at Musk's carefully crafted public image. For years, he had portrayed himself as a fearless entrepreneur who succeeded through innovation, risk-taking, and bold vision, rather than political favoritism. Trump's argument challenged that narrative head-on, turning the conflict into a battle over credibility, influence, and power. And this was only the beginning, because the next battlefield would be free speech. The free speech mirage. When Elon Musk bought Twitter in 2022 and rebranded it as X, he made a promise that immediately resonated with millions of users. He would restore free speech. Musk argued that the platform had become politically biased and too willing to silence opinions that did not fit the dominant narrative. Conservatives, in particular, viewed his takeover as a potential turning point in the battle over online expression. To reinforce that message, Musk reinstated several previously banned accounts, including Donald Trump's. The platform suddenly felt less restrictive, and many users believed a new era of open discussion had begun. For a time, Musk was celebrated by supporters as a defender of free expression and an opponent of big tech censorship. But Trump eventually concluded that the promise was an illusion. According to Trump and many of his allies, conservative voices were still being suppressed through shadow banning, reduced visibility, algorithmic restrictions, and other forms of moderation that were difficult to prove publicly. Campaign supporters claimed their posts were being throttled, hidden, or deprioritized without clear explanations. From Trump's perspective, the only thing that had changed was the branding. He began arguing that Musk had used the language of free speech to repair Twitter's reputation and attract users while quietly preserving many of the same mechanisms that conservatives had complained about for years. Then the feud became deeply personal. Musk posted a message declaring that without him, Trump would have lost the election, adding the cutting phrase, "Such ingratitude." The internet exploded. Musk was no longer acting like a supportive ally. He was claiming credit for Trump's political survival. The conflict intensified further when Musk began interacting with posts involving the Jeffrey Epstein files and allegations connected to Trump. Whether he intended to endorse those claims or simply encourage discussion, the political damage was immediate. And then came the moment that may have destroyed any remaining chance of reconciliation. When asked online whether Trump should be impeached, Musk responded with a single word: yes. That answer transformed the feud from a policy dispute into open political warfare. Reports soon emerged that Trump was considering retaliatory measures against Musk's companies. Federal contracts involving SpaceX, Tesla, and other Musk ventures were reportedly being reviewed. Some insiders claimed the administration was exploring executive actions that could reduce Musk's access to lucrative government partnerships. At that point, the stakes became enormous. SpaceX depends heavily on NASA and Department of Defense contracts. Tesla benefits from regulatory frameworks and government relationships. Neuralink and other Musk ventures operate in industries where federal oversight matters tremendously. Trump's message appeared clear. If Musk wanted a political war, the government possessed tools that could make that war extremely expensive. For Trump, the controversy proved his broader argument that Musk's commitment to free speech was conditional. In his view, Musk supported openness when it amplified his own influence, but became less enthusiastic when that openness empowered voices he no longer wanted to promote. Whether that accusation is fair or not, it raised a larger question that extends far beyond Trump and Musk. Can anyone who controls a massive digital platform truly be a neutral guardian of free speech? That question leads directly into the next and perhaps most consequential battle between the two men: the future of work, artificial intelligence, and American jobs. AI, borders, and the battle for American jobs. Donald Trump has built much of his political identity around protecting American workers. Factory workers, construction workers, truck drivers, and middle-class families have always been central to his message. He argues that globalization, outsourcing, and elite decision-making have weakened the economic security of ordinary Americans. Now he believes Elon Musk's technological vision represents a new threat. Musk has invested billions in artificial intelligence through companies such as xAI and Neuralink. He believes advanced AI systems will transform medicine, education, transportation, manufacturing, and virtually every other major industry. To Musk, that transformation is not optional. He sees AI as inevitable and necessary for maintaining American competitiveness against countries like China. Trump sees a different future. He warns that widespread automation could eliminate millions of jobs that currently support American families. Factory workers could be replaced by robots. Administrative workers could be replaced by AI systems. Even professional occupations such as medicine, law, and engineering could be partially automated. Trump argues that once those jobs disappear, many of them may never return. The disagreement extends beyond technology into immigration policy. Trump has accused Musk of supporting expanded immigration primarily because companies like Tesla and SpaceX benefit from access to highly skilled foreign workers. He argues that increasing the supply of labor can put downward pressure on wages and make it harder for American graduates to find stable, well-paying jobs. He also connects immigration to public spending, pointing to states that provide health care and other services to undocumented immigrants. In Trump's view, government resources should prioritize American citizens first. Musk rejects that framing. He argues that the United States faces shortages of engineers, scientists, medical professionals, and other skilled workers. Immigration, he says, helps fill those gaps and strengthens the economy. On AI, Musk insists that technological progress can create new opportunities even as it disrupts old ones. He has suggested that AI could make education more accessible and help people train for higher-skilled careers more quickly. Trump remains unconvinced by Musk's arguments. In his view, the government's priority should be investing directly in American workers rather than accelerating technologies that could replace them. He argues for expanding trade schools, apprenticeships, affordable education, and domestic manufacturing so that workers have stable, well-paying opportunities without relying on rapidly changing tech industries. The contrast between the two men could not be clearer. Musk's vision is global, technology-driven, and focused on the future. He sees artificial intelligence, automation, and advanced industries as essential for keeping America competitive in a rapidly evolving world. Trump's vision is far more national and worker-centered. He believes economic policy should protect existing communities, preserve traditional industries, and prevent ordinary Americans from being displaced by sudden technological disruption. What makes this conflict so significant is that it has moved beyond a simple policy disagreement. It has become a debate about what America should become in the decades ahead. Should the country embrace rapid technological acceleration even if it creates economic upheaval and uncertainty for millions of workers? Or should it slow that transformation in order to protect communities from being left behind? The Trump-Musk clash has become a powerful symbol of that larger national debate. And just when the feud seemed unable to escalate further, Trump introduced a new and deeply unsettling element: DOGE. The DOGE power play. The turning point came during a tense press briefing that instantly changed the tone of the Trump-Musk feud. A reporter asked Trump whether he would ever consider deporting Elon Musk. Most people in the room expected a laugh, a sarcastic joke, or a quick dismissal. Instead, Trump leaned forward and delivered a response that immediately sent shockwaves through the media. "We might have to put DOGE on Elon," he said. Trump was referring to the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, a government reform initiative that Musk himself had once publicly supported. With a grin, Trump described DOGE as a monster that might have to go back and eat Elon, erupted with reactions. But Trump did not stop there. He added another provocative comment, suggesting that Musk might deserve closer scrutiny because he had been born in South Africa. Whether the remarks were intended as serious policy threats or simply political theater, their impact was dramatic. The symbolism was impossible to miss. DOGE had originally been connected to Musk's own vision of streamlining government operations and bringing private sector efficiency to Washington. Now Trump was suggesting that the very mechanism Musk had once championed could be turned against him. According to reports, officials inside the administration began discussing broader reviews of Musk's companies, including Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, and xAI. Federal subsidies, tax credits, government contracts, regulatory approvals, and other financial relationships with Washington were reportedly being examined more aggressively than before. The timing could hardly have been worse for Musk. Tesla was already facing growing competition from international electric vehicle manufacturers, while SpaceX was under pressure to meet critical government launch deadlines. If federal support were reduced or delayed, the consequences could ripple across every corner of Musk's business empire. turning a political feud into a potentially costly corporate crisis. Tesla was already under pressure long before the feud reached its most explosive stage. The company was facing growing competition from Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers and other international automakers that were producing cheaper and increasingly sophisticated EVs. SpaceX, meanwhile, was racing to meet critical launch schedules tied to NASA missions and national security contracts, where delays could carry enormous financial and political consequences. Neuralink was drawing scrutiny from regulators and animal welfare groups over its testing practices, while XAI was struggling to stand out in a crowded artificial intelligence market dominated by powerful rivals. In that environment, a serious federal crackdown could create financial, regulatory, and reputational problems across Musk's entire business empire. Investors, partners, and government agencies would all be forced to reassess their relationships with his companies. Reports even suggested that Musk's father had urged him to de-escalate the conflict, fearing that the confrontation with Trump was becoming dangerously consequential. But Trump appeared unwilling to back down. To him, this was no longer about electric vehicle subsidies or social media moderation. It was about confronting someone he viewed as disloyal and increasingly threatening to his political influence. What makes the feud so remarkable is its broader significance. Trump represents political power, voters, legislation, executive authority, and the machinery of government. Musk represents technological and cultural power, social media influence, innovation, immense wealth, and the ability to shape public conversations across the world. Neither man fully controls the other. Trump cannot easily silence Musk's enormous online presence, and Musk cannot easily neutralize the power of the federal government. That is why this conflict feels larger than a typical political dispute. It may signal the beginning of a new kind of American power struggle, one between elected leaders and unelected billionaires whose wealth, technology, and communication networks allow them to rival traditional political institutions. If Musk becomes more directly involved in future elections, he could fund candidates, shape narratives, influence online discourse, and help build alternative political coalitions outside the traditional party structure. And if Trump continues using the tools of government to pressure powerful corporate figures, future administrations may be tempted to do the same. The Trump-Musk feud is no longer just about two famous personalities. It is about who gets to shape America's future. One man commands political loyalty, the other commands technological influence, and neither appears willing to surrender the spotlight. So, what do you think? Is Donald Trump exposing uncomfortable truths about Elon Musk's empire? Or is Elon Musk standing up against a political machine that wants to punish anyone who challenges it? This feud has moved far beyond electric cars and social media posts. It has become a battle over free speech, artificial intelligence, immigration, government power, and the future of American jobs. The outcome could affect politics, technology, and even the next presidential election. Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, like and subscribe to Power Exposed for more explosive stories every week.